Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz. Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash. Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz. Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash. Sing unto God, all the earth, a new song. I will sing unto God a new song. Sing unto God, and we'll all sing along. All the earth, a new song unto God. Shiru l'Adonai. Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz. Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash. I will sing unto God a new song. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, Cantor.
Shalom, Rabbi Schwartzman.
And Shabbat shalom to our congregation this morning. Bruchim habaim, welcome and good morning. Hope you're feeling well. Thank you for being here. And thank you, too, for helping us to keep one another safe by, thank you for wearing your mask during our service and spreading out and all that important stuff. We are so glad we can be in person, right? It's wonderful to see you and to have you with us as our congregation not only celebrates Shabbat, but celebrates a wonderful occasion in the lives of two families as McKenzie and Ellie become bat mitzvah here in the midst of their community and many members of Temple Rov Shalom. We're so happy to have the home team here as well. For our guests, we especially welcome you and a few words in the hopes that you will feel at home in our sanctuary, in our congregation. First of all, our prayer book is the smaller of the two navy blue books that are at your seats. That's right under your seat if you're in the front row. There are larger books. Those are our Torah commentaries. We use them a little later in the service. As you would imagine, McKenzie and Ellie will be leading us in worship and inviting you to read with them or sing with them. And we hope you'll be comfortable doing that. You might be from another congregation where the tune is a little bit different, but I know you're going to jump in there and try and join us. You might be from a different religious tradition. I hope you will find something in our service, in our prayer book, that speaks to you as well. So, are we singing before we go?
We're going to sing, and also we should say hello to all of our people watching on streaming.
All right.
So we have all of you welcome to our congregation virtually. And if you want to follow along in the prayer book, also on our webpage, templeroshalom.org/live at our streaming site, you can click on the prayer book and open it there. And when McKenzie or Ellie give you a page number, just type it in and go right to that page. So you can follow along as well. We're going to sing because we love music here at Temple Rov Shalom. And there's a song that we're going to sing this morning called Sanctuary. It's in your programs. The words are in your programs. It's in Hebrew and English. So you have an opportunity to try two languages in this one song. And it's all about making this place a holy place. So please join us. Oh God, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Ve'asuli mikdash v'shachanti betocham va'anachnu nevarech Yah me'ata ve'ad olam. Oh God, prepare me. Oh God, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you.
Before we continue in our prayer book, before we invite Ellie and McKenzie to be our service leaders, it's our custom to give their parents a moment to speak privately with their child, their daughter, to say their own words of love and praise and pride on this important day. So at this time, I'd like to invite Jeff and Marcy to stand with Ellie and Mitch and Nicole to stand with McKenzie as they take a private moment. Our Cantor will put some music to this moment, and I'd invite you, through our program, our prayer book, to prepare yourselves for worship as well.
Lechi lach, to a land that I will show you. Lech lecha, to a place you do not know. Lechi lach, on your journey I will bless you, and you shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. Lechi lach. And you shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. Lechi lach. And now we turn to the first main section of our service on page 195, called the Shema and its blessing section. And in this section, McKenzie will help lead us in prayer. We rise first as we begin with the call to worship. The Baruch Hu, please rise, page 195. Yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, lai 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 lai, yai lai lai. Barechu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch Adonai hamevorach leolam va'ed.
Please join me in the Yotzer, or if you are comfortable with the Hebrew. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Yotzer or uvorei hoshech, osei shalom uvorei et hakol, hameir la'aretz veladarim aleha berahamim, uvituom lehadesh bechol yom tamid ma'aseh bereshit. Marabu ma'aseha Adonai, kulam behokma asita, mala ha'aretz ki inyaneha, tifarach Adonai Eloheinu, al shevat maseh yadeha, ve'al meorei or, she'asita yifaru hasela, or hadash al Zion ta'ir, V'nizkeh kulanu mehera le'orot. Baruch atah Adonai, Yotzer hameorot. Our service continues on page 198 with the first paragraph of Ahava Rabbah. Please join me. Ahava Rabba Tanu Adonai Eloheinu Hem Lagid Olavi Teira Amalta Aleinu Bavor Avotenu Ve'imotenu Shabbat hu v'ha v'hamdeim hu kehayim Cantor hanenu ulamdenu Ham rahem aleinu V'ten b'libeinu lehavin Ulehaskil Lishmo lilmod ulelamed Lishmor v'la'asot ulkayim Ekol divrei Talmud Torateha be'ahava. We continue in English responsively on the next page.
Go ahead.
O God, inspiration and guide for all, you have spoken in 1,000 tongues for us to hear. In every land and every age, your children have heard you and imagined you in separate ways, and yet, O God, you are the one unifier of humanity.
We give thanks for the sages and teachers who bring us understanding of your will. Gratefully we recall the lawgivers and prophets, the psalmists and sages of Israel, and joyfully we remember that from the dawn of Israel's life we would turn to you and find purpose.
May the teachings of our ancestors live on in our minds, and their passion for righteousness stir our hearts. Help us to live so that our daily conduct reveals the beauty and wisdom of your truth. Baruch atah Adonai, Aboher be'emo Yisrael, be'ahava.
Amen. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
Please be seated.
Great. Go ahead, keep going.
Please join me as we chant Via Hafta together on page 201. Ve'ahavta Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha v'chol nafshecha v'chol meodecha v'hayu advarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha Vishinantam livanecha, vidivarta bam, vishiftecha b'veitecha, uvlechtecha b'derech, uvshokvecha uvkumecha, ukshartam le'od al yadecha, v'hayu l'totafot bein einecha, uktavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvish'arecha leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'hitem kedoshim le'Elohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim Liot lachem Elohim, Ani Adonai Elohechem. Please join me in the English. Love Adonai, your God, with every heartbeat, with every breath, with every conscious act. Keep in mind the words I command you today. Teach them to your children. Talk about them at work, whether you are tired or you are rested. Let them guide the work of your hands. Keep them in the forefront of your vision. Do not leave them at the doorway of your house or outside your gate. They are reminders to do all of my mitzvah, so that you can be holy for God. I am Adonai your God. I led you out of Egypt to become your God. I am Adonai your God.
You can continue when we're reading there. Page 203.
Sing the song of men and women, join in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come, the song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more, the song of a world redeemed, the song of peace.
Thank you, McKenzie. Beautiful job. Let's join together in Mi Chamocha on page 204. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai. Norat tehilot osef ele, norat tehilot osef ele, mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai. Shira chadasha shibechu geolim, leshimecha lesefat hayam, yachad kulam hodu v'imlichu ve'ameru, Adonai imloch leolam va'ed, Adonai imloch leolam va'ed, Adonai imloch leolam va'ed. Tzor Yisrael kuma bezrat Yisrael, ופדחנו ממך יהודה וישראל, קולנו אדוני צבאות שמו קדוש ישראל. ברוך אתה אדוני גא ישראל. We rise now for the next section of our service called the Tefillah that Ellie will help us lead. Page 205.
We continue with the Tefillah on page 205. Please join me as we chant the prayers on the next 3 pages together. Adonai sefatai tifta ufi yagid tehilateha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanorah, El Elyon, Gomel Hasadim Tovim, V'Konei Hakol, V'Zoher Hasdei Avot v'Imahot, U'Mevi Geula Livnei B'neihem, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומשיח ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. Source of all being, we turn to you as did our people in ancient days. They beheld you in the heavens, they felt you in their hearts, they sought you in their lives. Their quest is ours. Together.
Help us to see the wonder of being. Give us the courage to search for truth. Teach us the path to a better life. So shall we, by our lives and our labors, bring nearer the world we envision, one of justice, freedom, and peace.
We continue together on the next page with Giverot. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל, אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח, המוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ברופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי המוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לה, מלך ממית ומקיים, ומצמיח ישועה. ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. We continue with the Kiddushah on page 208.
Great job. I'll tell you when this is ending. Don't worry.
נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה ואמר, קדוש קדוש קדוש, אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ, כבודו. אדיר אדירנו אדוני, אדוננו מאדיר שמך בכל הארץ, ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו, הוא מלכנו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ברחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון לדור ודור. הללויה. לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Page 210. To all generations we will make known your greatness, and to all eternity proclaim your holiness. Your praise, O God, shall never depart from our lips. Blessed are you, Adonai, the holy God. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh.
Amen.
Please be seated. We continue with the singing of the Yitzmahu on page 211.
You just hang out here, and when the song is done, you do your last thing.
ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. מקדשי שבי שבת, כולם יספרו ויתענגו מטובך השבת. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. ישמחו
ומלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת והשביעי רצית בו וקידשתו שבת חמדת ימים אותו קראת זכר מעשה וראשית שבת ישמחו ומלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת ישמחו ומלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת.
Those who keep Shabbat by calling it a delight will rejoice in your realm. The people that hallow Shabbat will delight in your goodness. For, being pleased with the seventh day, you hallowed it as most precious of days, drawing our attention to the work of creation. Please join me in saying Kadshenu. Eloheinu, Velohei Avotenu v'imotenu, Ritzei v'imnuchatenu, Kadeshenu b'mitzvotecha, V'tein helkenu b'toratecha, Sabe'enu mituvecha, V'samhenu b'shuatecha, V'taher libeinu le'ovdecha be'emet. V'anhilenu Adonai Eloheinu be'ahava uratzon Shabbat kodshecha v'yanuhu v'Yisrael mekadeshech mecha Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat.
Amen.
Great job, Ellie. On page 212, in the middle of the page, a poetic, prayerful rendition of the prayers for Shabbat. Won't you join me responsively by paragraph? On this Shabbat day, as you graciously receive our prayers, help us to hear your call. Grant us enough health to fulfill our duties and the compassion we need to attend to others. Please join me. Teach us humility that we may perceive our own faults, and grant us the wisdom to be forgiving of others. Give us the courage to be true to our highest selves and the charity to see the best. Give us patience enough not to become discouraged, hope enough to overcome all fears for the future, and faith enough to know your presence. O source of blessing, look with favor upon us, and may our offerings be acceptable to you. We praise you, Adonai, whom alone we serve in reverence. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otecha levadecha b'yira na'avod. And this section of our service ends with a prayer for peace. We're on page 216, and we hope you'll join us in Sim Shalom.
Sim shalom tova uvracha, chen v'chesed v'rachamim, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael amecha. Sim shalom tova uvracha, chen v'chesed v'rachamim, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael amecha. Sim shalom tova uvracha, chesed v'rachamim aleinu aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol Yisrael amecha sim shalom tova uvracha chen v'chesed v'rachamim aleinu aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol Yisrael amecha.
And after that very beautiful and peaceful song of peace, we take a peaceful moment for our own personal, our own private prayers as we pray on our own in the book or in the prayers in our hearts.
Ose shalom bimromav Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu Ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen Ose shalom bimromav Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu Ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen ve'imru Well, we've come now to the central part of our worship service this morning where Ellie and McKenzie will be reading from the Torah. The Torah portion for this week is exciting because we just started the Torah anew with the holiday of Simchat Torah, so they'll be reading from the very beginning, the story of creation, which is really very cool. So Ellie and McKenzie, first I want to say Mazel Tov to your guests and your family members that are here, but I want to especially say Mazel Tov to your grandparents. So Ellie, we welcome your grandparents, Michael Love, Dolly Love, Jim Rosenzweig, and Diane Rosenzweig. Mazel Tov to all of you. And McKenzie, to your grandparents, Leslie Sachs, Marty Sachs, Carol Buckner, and Harvey Buckner. Mazel Tov to all of you. We invite the grandparents now to come join us here at the foot of the bima. You'll be joined in just a moment by the rest of your family. And we all are going to turn in our prayer books to page 244 as we rise to prepare to take the Torahs from the Ark. Ein kamocha va'Elohim Adonai ve'ein kema'asecha malechut kol olamim u'memshaltecha bechol dor v'dor ein kamocha va'Elohim Adonai ve'ein kema'asecha malechut kol olamim u'memshaltecha bechol dor v'dor.
McKenzie, as you receive this Torah, remember its teachings, its wisdom, and its history. Let it guide you this day and all days. As you embrace it, so may you embrace what it has meant for the Jewish people over the generations. Judaism is history and hope, learning and laughter, and in our family, holidays. We pray that the story of the Jewish people continues brightly with you as you grow as a person and as a Jew. May you embrace the Torah your whole life.
Ellie, may you cherish the message of this Torah. It is a guidebook passed down from generations of Jews before you who have kept Judaism alive. We take great pride this day in your acceptance of Torah. This responsibility requires strength, knowledge, commitment, and love. Today you have brought these qualities to the Jewish people and therefore are part of the link of the chain of Jewish tradition. May you embrace the Torah your whole life.
Ellie, as I take the Torah from you, won't you and McKenzie join us all in the singing of the Shema? Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Echad Eloheinu Gadol Adonenu Kadosh Shemo Gadelul Adonai Iti Uneramemo Shemo Yachtav Lecha Adonai Hagevula V'Hagevura V'Hatiferet V'Hanezach Uvaretz, ki chol b'shamayim uvaretz, lecha Adonai hamamlacha, v'amid na'aseh lecha lerush.
My Torah portion for this Shabbat that McKenzie and I will be reading is called Bereshit. It comes from the book of Genesis, and my Hebrew reading begins with chapter 1, verse 1. We read the very first words of the Torah when God creates the world. I will be reading about the first 3 days of creation. In my partner's reading, God creates man on the 6th day of creation. You can find the Torah reading in the Torah commentary books located at your seats beginning on page 19.
For Ellie's first aliyah to the Torah, we invite Ellie, your aunt and uncle, Sherry, and Josh Edelman. Ya amdu ha'olim la'aleh Torah.
You can take off your masks if you'd like. And there's your blessing.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevarach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher barka banu mikol ha'amim. V'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen.
Amen. Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim ve'et ha'aretz v'ha'aretz hayatatohu vavohu v'hosheh ha'pinei tehom v'ruach Elohim merahefet ha'pinei ha'mayim vayomer Elohim yihior vayior vayar Elohim et ha'or ki tov vayavdel Elohim bein ha'or uvein ha'hoshech vayikra Elohim la'or yom v'lahoshech hara laila vahi erev vahi voker yom echad.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher natan lanu Torat emet v'hayei olam nata b'tohenu Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen.
Yes,
Congratulations, y'all. Won't you
guys can
stand?
stand over here. And now, Ellie, for your second aliyah, we invite your aunts Debbie Katursky and Tammy Rosenzweig. Ta'amodna ha'olim la'aliyah Torah. We're reading now the second day of creation, Genesis chapter 1, verse 6.
You can take off your masks if you'd like.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vayomer Elohim, Yehi rakia b'toch hamayim, v'hi mavdil bein mayim lamayim. Vayas Elohim et harakia, vayavdil bein hamayim, asher mitav lirakia, uvein hamayim, asher me'al lirakia, vayichen. Vayikra Elohim l'rakia shamayim vayi erev vayi boker yom sheni.
Beautiful job.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Congratulations to you both. Well done. Okay. Put that for
You
you.
can stand here in the middle of the bima. And now, Ellie, for your third aliyah, when he's out of you, we call you by your Hebrew name for the first time as a bat mitzvah. Ta'amod, 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 habakura ha-bat mitzvah, Esther nava bat Mordechai v'masha, la'aliyah Torah hazak.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Vayomer Elohim, Yikavu hamayim, mitav hashamayim, el makom echad, v'tera'eh hayabasha, vayichen, vayikra Elohim layabasha, eretz umikvei hamayim, kara yamim, vayar Elohim ki tov, vayikra Elohim, tadashe haaretz deshe, Esev Mazri, it's Peri, Ose Peri, Laminohu, Asher Zarovo, Al Haaretz, Vayehichen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'hayei olam nata b'tochenu, Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Great job. Great job.
To you. Beautiful job, Ellie. And now McKenzie comes forward to read from her section of the Torah. She's reading a little bit later on, Genesis. That's too
A
far.
lot later on.
Genesis chapter 1, verse 26. And McKenzie, for your first aliyah, we invite your aunts Meredith Becker and Jessica Ganser. Ta'amodna ha'olot la'aliyah Torah.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Great job.
Amen. Vayomer Elohim Naaseh Adam B'Tzelmenu Kimutenu V'Yirdu Vidgat hayam uv'ov hashamayim uva behema uv'chol haaretz uv'chol haromes al haaretz. Vayivra Elohim et ha'adam b'tzelem Elohim bara oto zahar u'nekeva bara otam. Vayivarech otam Elohim vayomer lahem Elohim Peru orvu umu et haaretz v'hivshua ordu vidgat hayam uv'ov hashamayim uv'chol haya haromeset al haaretz.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Beautiful job.
You guys can stand right here in the middle of the bima. And now, McKenzie, for your second aliyah, we invite your grandfather Marty Sachs and your uncle Ryan Buckner. Ya'amdu ha'olim la'aleh Torah. Mackenzie's second aliyah begins with Genesis chapter 1, verse 29.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vayomer Elohim hine natati lahem et kol esav zara asher al pinei kol haaretz et kol ha'etz asher bo peri etz zara lahem yehyeh le'ok la uchol haya haaretz uchol hashamayim uchol romes al haaretz asher bo nefesh haya et kol yerek esav Ogla vayhichen v'yar Elohim et kol asher asa vayhine tov me'od vayhi boker yom hashishi.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Yishkar to you both. Congratulations. Why don't you guys go ahead and
You can come
stand?
stand over here. And now, Mackenzie, for your third aliyah, we get to call you by your Hebrew name for the first time as a bat mitzvah, and you're reading now Genesis chapter 2, verse 1. Ta'amod, 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 habachura habat mitzvah. Miriam Sarah bat Moshe the Meira la Torah Chazak.
Baruch et Adonai Habarach.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Habarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu Torah et Torah.
Toe.
Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Vaychulu hashamayim v'haaretz v'chol seva'am. Vaychal Elohim b'yom hashvi'i melakto asher asa. Vayishbot b'yom hashvi'i mekol melakto asher asa. Vayivrak Elohim et yom hashvi'i vayikadesh oto ki bo Shabbat mekol melakto asher bara Elohim la'asot ele toldot hashamayim v'haaretz v'hibram b'yom asot Adonai Elohim eretz v'shamayim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu
Melech haolam
asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Beautiful job, Beautiful job. And now we're going to invite McKenzie, your sister Emery, and your cousin Alana Buckner, along with Ellie's sister Sabrina, to come forward as they help dress the Torah, and we invite all of you to please rise. V'zot haTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael. And now we're going to remain standing as we return to our prayer books to return the Torah to the Ark. We are on page Here we go. We are on page 256 as we join together in Eitz Hayim. We ask Ellie and McKenzie to open the Ark for us. Speeches.
You can sit for a minute, okay?
Ellie's
first. Didn't Ellie just read Torah?
McKenzie read
first.
Torah, yes. You're first.
Thanks.
We're trying to keep up with everything. Okay.
Okay, you're first.
My Torah portion.
Isn't McKenzie?
No, McKenzie read Torah. Right? I mean, she just read Torah.
Oh, Ellie's first.
Okay. My Torah portion describes the first 3 days of God's creation of the world. From nothing, God began to create the heavens and the earth, separating them from each other. The earth was a place of nothingness, water and wind, surrounded by darkness. From that darkness, God created light. The newfound light was called day, and the darkness night, and that was the first day. God created the air, separating it from the water, calling the expanse sky. And then there was day, and then there was night, and that was the second day. God gathered the water below the sky and gathered it into an area, so that the new dry land may appear. This dry land was earth, and the waters were sea. God said, "Let the earth sprout vegetation, seed-bearing plants, fruit trees of every kind on earth that bear fruit with the seed in it." And it was so. And there was day, and there was night, and that was the third day. During creation, God was never rushed. Throughout the process, God took his time making sure that this world was perfect for the humans and animals that would later inhabit it. God stopped and looked around, viewing his work. God spent these first 3 days working to make the earth an ideal home for humans. However, over the eons that humans have spent on this earth, humans have done things that don't honor God's creation. For example, human activity has caused climate change, and that change is now responsible for many things, including terrible weather disasters. Hurricane Ida devastated large parts of the United States. I saw in the news historic flooding, evacuations, and buildings and businesses that have now been ruined. Climate change is also responsible for increased temperatures, melting icebergs and ice caps, droughts, and wildfires throughout the world. God took his time creating the world so that humans would be able to live in peace and harmony, but that is not always the case. War and conflict are persistent in many parts of the world. People are stubborn and will do anything to prove that their opinion is correct. Sometimes people are selfish and do not care how their actions affect other people. I think that people should step back and look around just like God did before they do things that destroy God's vision of the world. In my life, I try to take a step back and think about the world around me. I try to listen to other people's points of view and not be too stubborn about my opinions. I try to always be thankful for everything I have because some people do have less. I try to preserve our environment and leave places like I found them.
In my opinion, it's never too late to start helping the world and changing it. Humans need to step up and fix our mistakes before they become too large to handle. We should all join together to restore our home so the balance of nature can be restored. All humans should strive to maintain the world in a way that honors God's creation. For my Mitzvah project, I worked with a nonprofit company called Lasagna Love to help make meals for people in need. I made and delivered several lasagnas for families. I also made and donated cookies to one of their local food drives. Doing this as my Mitzvah project helped me to step back and look around. I was able to realize how lucky I was and how some people aren't as fortunate. I would like to thank my parents for supporting me throughout my life and throughout this process, my sister for always making sure that she was at least a little quiet while I practiced, my tutor, Miss Heller, for always being kind and patient with me, and the clergy for giving me guidance with my speech in Hebrew. I want to congratulate McKenzie, who did a good job today. I would like to thank everyone who could not come in person and is on the live stream right now. I hope to see you all soon. And lastly, I want to thank everyone who came here in person today. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Either way, we'll bring it back up. Might as well stand. McKenzie, over to you.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for coming today. In my Torah portion, God makes humans. God says that they will rule over the fish of the sea, birds of the sky, the cattle, all things that creep and crawl, and the whole earth. God tells the humans to fill the earth and master it. He gives them the seed-bearing plants and the trees with seed-bearing fruits for food, and to the animals, God gives the green plants for food. The last part of the portion is how, on the seventh day, God had finished making heaven and earth. God was very proud of what he had done, so God rested. God declared that day holy, and that's where Shabbat comes from. The first question I had about this portion was, why were the humans created last? If humans were the ones made to rule the earth and everything on it, why weren't they made first, so the animals never had to live without a ruler? Wouldn't it be chaos if just a bunch of unruled animals roamed the earth? Well, if you think about it, if humans were made first, they wouldn't have had a job. It'd be just them, nothing to watch over, no real purpose. But instead, they were created last. Why? To show they had a job to do, a purpose. Their job was to rule over everything on earth, to tame it. They needed to look after the animals and take care of earth. But what does that mean, to take care of the earth? I think it means many things. For one, I think it means to not pollute the air and the sea, to plant enough greenery to keep the air clean, trees, grass, and any other forms of greenery to turn the carbon dioxide in the air into oxygen we can use to breathe. We also need to be careful about making sure our trash doesn't end up on the ground, littered. God also said we need to rule the sea, and currently there's about 5.25 trillion pieces of plastic in the ocean. In fact, every day about 8 million pieces of plastic make it into the ocean. Making sure plastic is recycled is one way to have less plastic get into the ocean, affecting the animals we were told to watch over. We can also take care of the world by helping animals not go extinct. We were made to rule over them and protect the animals, so helping dying populations is very important. There are so many endangered, vulnerable, and threatened species. Just a few include the Sunda tiger, Asian elephant, orangutan, red panda, giant panda, chimpanzee, and many others. Zoos and animal sanctuaries are helping to stop these animals from going extinct. Overall, the world needs our help, and we need to give it. I would like to thank my parents for always helping me whenever I need it. Thank you to my grandparents for all the love you've given me. Thank you to my aunt, uncle, and cousins for all the good memories you've helped me create. Thank you, Emery, for making me laugh. Thanks to my tutor, Cantor, Annie Bornstein, for helping me prepare for my bat mitzvah. I want to thank the TRS clergy for helping me get ready for today. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Don't leave. Shabbat Shalom. We're going to all stand up here. Stand right up there. We're all going to stand up here together. In the olden days, we would huddle around one another, but we're going to continue our COVID responsibilities, and I'm going to stand here. And I get to be the first of, look at all these people here who are ready to congratulate you, Ellie, and you, McKenzie, for this exceptional day, for everything that you did in your leadership today, but also for everything that this day represents, which those of you who have shared in a celebration of becoming a bar bat mitzvah before know that it is a long process of preparing, of learning Hebrew and learning the unique skill of reading from the Torah, but also it is a year of thinking hard about what it will mean for each young person to be an adult. So McKenzie and Ellie, I want to say Mazal Tov, congratulations to you both for your leadership today, for chanting so beautifully from the Torah, but equally, if not more importantly, for your words that you just shared with us. Because as great as it is for our young people to learn this tradition and these skills, I'm sure you'll agree that it's even more important that they figure out how to internalize the messages of our tradition and make them guideposts for going forward in the world as young adults. We hope that each of our young people, and it's not always easy depending on what Torah portion you get, not everybody is as lucky as you guys were to get Genesis 1:1, right? Only one weekend a year do we read that fabulous Torah portion. Congratulations for you guys for getting that Torah portion. It is not always easy, but it is always the task of our young people and our own program to invite young people to look into this portion, the tradition, their families, the family's traditions, and say, what will I bring into the world? What will I do as I step into the new role of bat mitzvah, of young adult, a person of responsibilities? You looked into this Torah portion, which a lot of people, when they see the creation story, they say, like, what is this fairy tale? Right? What is this story all about? A lot of people, including myself, believe in evolution. And actually, at the same time, and I think you understood this too, I also believe in the story of creation. Evolution is about scientific facts. The story of creation is about spiritual truths. And both of you hit upon this because you saw in this story not an old fairy tale, but rather a calling for you and for me and for all of us to take a responsibility to the world that is created. And you know, the place where that responsibility is most clearly stated, who was the second reader? You were the second reader, McKenzie? When God creates humanity, God creates us in the divine image. Now, the very first thing we know about God from your beginning, Ellie, is that God is a creator. God is involved in making something of the world and in the world. When we are created in the image of God, it is a statement that we too have power and agency to create, to manipulate, to improve the world. And in the end of the Torah reading that McKenzie, you read, some translations say that the work of creation was finished on the sixth day and God rested on the seventh day. But our real tradition says that the real way to translate that is the story of creation. God, the creation had reached its destination, as if to say that creation will continue. And indeed, we believe that. We believe that Ellie, McKenzie, Amy, everybody in this room has power to be a creator in the world. And now we are challenged with the words you both said. Will we use our power for good or for destruction? Will we use our ability to be creators to make the world more complete, more safe, more healthy, more just, more ethical, more moral? Or will we use our power to be involved in the world for something negative? McKenzie, you, Ellie, you have called us to do good in the world, to protect the physical world, but also to protect the people who are a part of our world. This Torah portion, some of you might see it as, some story, some ancient story, but really it's about giving humanity agency. And how will we use that? And when you take it seriously, you know that it is your job to do good in the world, to make a difference in the world, and to bring blessing to the world through your gifts. So Ellie and McKenzie, Cantor and I, on behalf of all the clergy of our congregation, want to thank you for the leadership you've given us today, for creating something beautiful and meaningful for us, not only to be part of, but also to take away from this service. And we want to encourage you to continue to use that agency, that power that God has given you to be creators of that which is good, and in doing so bring blessing. And so we want to share a blessing with you. a blessing that thanks you for the blessing you've been today and reminds you to go forth to continue to be a blessing by fulfilling the very words, the very charge that you spoke to us today. So I'd like to invite both sets of parents to stand with their daughters at the Ark, as well as both younger sisters, Sabrina and Emery. And I know you two, all of you want to be part of this moment of blessing, so I invite you to rise at your places as well. Where's your sister? She's okay. Okay, yeah.
Yivarechecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha.
May God bless you. May God keep you.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka.
As the two of you have shone so beautifully upon us today, may God shine upon you on all of your journeys that are ahead.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha.
And may God give you all the things that you want, that you need, that you deserve. Most importantly, shalom, which is peace. A peace that lives within you, Ellie and McKenzie. A peace that you share with the beautiful families you're a part of. And a peace that you, through your blessings and your commitment to be responsible to the world, bring to others and our earth and our land. Amen.
Amen. We have a song for the two of you now. Taking your place in an enduring line. This is the day that you stood up to say, our tradition is mine. You have now read the Torah. It's been passed on to you. It's our law and our story, but each telling is new. It is said we stood at Sinai, and today you know you're there. You're the promise of a people, a blessing and a prayer. Lahalechet bidrachav, v'lishmor mitzvotav, kol hayamim. May you walk in God's ways, and may all of your days be blessings. It is said we stood at Sinai, and today you know you're there. You're the promise of a people, a blessing and a prayer. You're the promise of a people, a blessing and a prayer. We continue now as we return to our prayer books, and we remain standing as we turn to page 282 and join together in the chanting of Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon ha'kol, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר ארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינת עוזו בגובהי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום Adonai echad, Ushemo echad. You may be seated.
We've come now to the section of our service that gives us an opportunity to remember those people whom we have loved and lost. I'm sure there are members of both Ellie and McKenzie's families who we very much wish could be with us today. We think of them. You all are thinking of them, I am sure. There are mourners among us, and we want to support all of you as we approach the recitation of Kaddish Yatom. Beginning on page 288, and for a number of pages, there are some poems, some meditations and readings that help us to move towards the recitation of our mourner's prayer. I invite you to take a moment with your own thoughts or with a reading that speaks to you, and we'll come together again in just a few seconds to recite the mourner's Kaddish. Kaddish Yatom is on page 294. Those who are comfortable rising in body and spirit, please rise and join the mourners who are here as we recite this prayer together. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba, v'yalma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chaye echon u'yom echon v'chaye d'chol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'vizman kariv v'imru, Amen. Yehi shmei Rabba mevarach le'olam omei omaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei d'kedusha b'ruchu, le'olam mimkol birchata v'shirata, tush bechata v'nechemata, da'amiram ba'alma v'imeru, Amen. Yehi shlama Rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, Amen. May the source of peace and comfort and strength and support to all who mourn, to all who are grieving here and everywhere, and let us say, Amen. Won't you please be seated? And Cantor Shaket, over to you.
Well, it is an honor and pleasure, Ellie and McKenzie, to say Mazel Tov to you on such a beautiful responsibility that you undertook today to lead us in worship and to read from Torah. And so we have some gifts from the congregation, and especially the certificate that you've already seen. This is made from a member of our congregation, unique to our congregation, a certificate for each of you for your bat mitzvah. But in addition, in these gift bags here, we have a number of other things. One is our Reform Movement's home prayer book that you'll have to use throughout the course of your life. And then there's some gift certificates. One is from NIFTY, the North American Federation of Temple Youth, which is towards travel in Israel during your high school years. I hope you take advantage of that. There's also a gift certificate from our youth committee, Tristy, and a travel mug, and finally a Kiddush cup that you can use each Shabbat to raise high and to say l'chaim and to remember these special moments in your life. So this is for you, Ellie, and McKenzie, for you. And I want to thank all of you who are guests here for coming to Temple Rosh Shalom for the first time. Hopefully you'll be back for other simchas. To all of our members who are here in our congregation, especially our next year's B'nai Mitzvah class in October. I hope that this was a great opportunity to set you off on your journey towards Bar and Bat Mitzvah as well. Thank you to Frank Conlon on the piano, to Howard on audio, and Gil on video, and all of you watching at home on our streaming site. I say Shabbat Shalom to all of you. So we are going to conclude our service with the singing of Ein Keloheinu, which is on page 322. I'll ask you to rise, but to remain in your places after the service so that McKenzie and Ellie and their families can make their way out to the lobby and perhaps even outside to greet you. There are a lot of you, so, find places to stay to both of families so that we can get everyone in. Thank you again for being with us. Our song, Ein Keloheinu, page 322. Ein Keloheinu, Ein Kadonenu, Ein Kel Malkeinu, Ein Kemoshienu, Mi Eloheinu, Mi Chadonenu, Mi Chel Malkeinu, Mi Kemoshienu, Nodel Eloheinu, Nodel Adonenu, Nodel El Malkeinu, Nodel Moshienu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu. As we go forth on this beautiful Shabbat day, may we be reminded of the beauty of creation, and may we be inspired by McKenzie and Ellie, who are creating new opportunities for themselves as they go forth to lead responsible lives, making the world a better place. Adonai oz le'amo yitain, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. May God grant strength to our people and bless our people with peace. Amen and Shabbat Shalom.